Hey guys, Jonathan here, and I'm at the Krusty Burger from The Simpsons, which is the perfect place for us to head inside, grab lunch, and take a look at every single Lego Simpsons minifig ever made using the Krusty Burger as our backdrop. Uh-oh, I hear sirens. So let's head in and check it out. So if you've not been before, this is Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, where they have a giant real-life Krusty Burger. Well, actually, it's like all the restaurants from The Simpsons in one, but of course I had to go and get the Krusty Burger. They have all kinds of different ones, but I kept it classic and went with the #1, so let's go ahead and taste it now. Okay, so I got the combo, which is the Krusty Burger, the Krusty Fries, and the Buzz Cola. So let's start off with that. It's good. It's like cherry Coke kind of. So if you ever wondered what Buzz Cola tasted like, there you go. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for. What does a Krusty Burger actually taste like? It's a burger. So now into the minifigure breakdown, and holy cow, this was awesome to revisit all the figures. Now recently, I did an every Simpsons set ever, where I took a look at the house, the Kwik-e-Mart, and the new Krusty Burger, and during that time, I filmed the minifigures because I borrowed them from my friends Fromania Bricks, but I kind of accidentally wound up at Universal. Maybe that's a story for another day, but I didn't have the figures with me, so I filmed footage at the table, and my good pal DuckBricks helped me green screen it into place here. So if a couple things look a little wonky, well, we did some filming magic, but it turned out fun, so let's get into the breakdown starting now. Okay, so we'll take a look at all three Homers up first. There's a sentence I never thought I would say, but man, it is crazy to have the Lego Simpsons back after all this time. The furthest left one is the one that comes in the Simpsons House. This center one is the one that came with the Kwik-e-Mart, but was also released with the CMF Series, Lego Dimensions, and all of that good stuff. And then, of course, we have the 2025 Homer with the food stains on his shirt. Now, interestingly enough, the torso detailing between the regular Homer from all those other places and 2025 is very similar, like with the line on the belly and the shirt collar and all that, but the 2025 one actually has back printing detail, whereas the other two don't. All three have dual-molded short-sleeve arms, which is really nice, and of course the one that comes with the house has the necktie and the work badge, but I do have to point out that all three heads are different, which is kind of crazy in its own right. Of course, the most immediate point is the one from the house having the, like, half-closed eyes, which, in general, I'm not going to say it for every single figure, but I really don't care for that on all of those. I just think it kind of made them look odd. But then, of course, we have the regular Homer from all those sets, which looks really good. And while the heads do look basically identical, in person, they are a slightly, and I do mean slightly different yellow shade. The original one has a little bit more like shininess and sheen to it, whereas the 2025 one is more of like a plastic mold. It is a little bit hard to see on camera, but like I said, this one from the 2015 set and all the dimension stuff does have a slightly different shine to the head. Maybe you could see it a little better from the back, but overall, it is nice that all three Homers here are unique. Bart is the only other character to appear in all three sets, which is an interesting fun fact. But of course, they are very similar, but do have slight differences. Now, the biggest similarity, of course, is that all three torsos are exactly the same, with those very nice dual-molded arms, which are great. The original Bart from the house has those kind of half-closed eyes like we talked about on Homer, and once again, the heads are slightly different on the 2015 and 2025 versions, again, just being a slightly different shade of yellow, which I wish it translated better on camera than it does. The other thing is there does seem to be a slight, and I do mean slight difference in the way that those dual-molded legs are done between the 2025, which of course is this one, and the 2015 in the center. The other thing is the original version from the house has his slingshot printed on the back as well as on the back of the pants, whereas the other two do not have any printing whatsoever. The two different versions of Marge are very nice. Of course, the head mold is going to be the same between the two, this one being from the house and this one being from the Kwik-e-Mart, but the Kwik-e-Mart version is also basically the same as the CMF version, which is kind of nice, so there's a lot of Marges out there if you want her for your collection to go with the Krusty Burger this year. But beyond that, obviously the differences are the printing on the eyes, which we've talked about and we know, and then of course those torso prints where the house one has the apron and and the other one does not. And that apron is also printed on her skirt piece down below, which is a really nice inclusion if you ask me. So, as crazy as it is, Lisa is the single Simpsons character with the most unique variants, and yes, every single one is unique. Of course, we have Lisa from the Simpsons House, from the CMF Series 1, CMF Series 2, and now the Krusty Burger, so a lot of variation going on. As far as I can tell, the textile for all three of the red skirts is the same. Of course, the pink one from the CMF Series 2 is unique, but all of the printing is unique between the Lisas. Of course, the one from the house has the eyelids printed on there, which makes it unique, but the yellow color and the way that the yellow is made on the heads of both the CMF and the Krusty Burger version are slightly different, where the CMF one has a little bit more shine and reflection to it, whereas the new one does not. And there are some very, and I do mean very slight print details, differences between the torsos, honestly, across all three. If you look at the house in the CMF, it looks like the beads of her necklace are a little bit thicker on the CMF version, and they are, in my opinion, slightly different. Bricklink may disagree, but I'm looking at both of them right next to each other right now, so all I can do is give you my opinion that they are different. The CMF 2 version, of course, had those dual molded arms with the pink sleeves on top, and of course the bow in her hair, which is really cool, but beyond that, no real similarities there other than the head sculpt being the same piece for the three there, and yeah, that's every version of Lego Lisa. So as I came up with the pairings for all of the different characters here, I thought looking at the Simpsons pets along with Maggie made sense as the smallest members of the Simpsons family. Of course, Santa's Little Helper came with the CMF version of Maggie, and the Snowball 2 cat here actually came with Lisa from the CMF Series 2, but both of the animals had unique molds that were only ever used in the CMF series, understandably so, of course, being that those animals are so unique in their shapes but have great printing. And then Maggie is interesting. The wide-eyed version without the eyelids printed on is actually the one that came in the Simpsons House, which is funny because all of the other characters from that have the eyelids printed. And then the version of Maggie with the eyelids and her eyes offset did come in the CMF Series 1 for The Simpsons. Now, she does have a completely unique body, as you can see, with her giant Snuggie, for lack of a better term, on. And, yeah, really, really nice figure all around. And I think that all of these add to the Simpsons family in ways that you just gotta have them all. Okay, so up next we have Maggie from the house, Snake from the Kwik-e-Mart, and unbelievably, Sideshow Bob from the Krusty Burger set. Now, Sideshow Bob is quite interesting because he's got those same arms that we see on Jeremy from the same set, but beyond that, it's really, really cool to get all of these pieces. Now, starting with Maggie, chronologically here, it was cool to get that piece that was used for her torso here and kind of legs that was also used in the CMF series, so that's quite cool. It made for a great figure with the binky and everything. It's just too funny. Snake was really cool with the printing on his arm there for his tattoo, and of course those dual molded arms that I don't believe appeared in this color variation elsewhere. We also got that great torso, which is just really helpful for making customs, and the headpiece there, just like all Simpsons characters, was uniquely molded for him. I like the little mustache stubble there, the mullet, the earring, and everything going on. Sideshow Bob, though, is a character that, given his violent history in The Simpsons, I am truly shocked made it into Lego form, but man, does he look great with the way that his hair is done, with all the, little bubbling to give it texture, and of course, we get a little bit of back printing there, which is nice, but certainly not necessary, and overall, it is a great figure, and I think just with that head detailing alone makes it one of the best Simpsons minifigures we ever got. Now, of course, between the three sets, we can't really compare them one-to-one anymore, but we'll just take a look at figures in batches here. This, of course, being Ned Flanders from the house, Apoo from the Kwik-e-Mart, and Jeremy Friedman from the Krusty Burger. It's really nice that these two had the dual-molded arms in new color variants that we didn't see anywhere else, really. And, of course, it's nice that these two had back printing, especially Flanders, considering that was 2014. And all three torso prints are really nice. Of course, Ned is the only one that got leg printing, which again is really awesome. And overall, I think all three are really, really nice minifigs. And, you know, we're not really comparing them one-to-one like the previous characters. It's just nice to showcase them all and see how the ever-growing Simpsons universe has evolved in LEGO over the years. Up next, we've got the boys. We've got Milhouse, Martin, Nelson, and Ralph Wiggum all lined up. So here we go. Each figure has dual molded legs that are unique to that figure. Of course, the dual molded legs do not appear on Ralph, as you would expect, but the torsos all are really neat, many of them having dual molded arms as well. Man, I guess Ralph just really didn't get too many exciting minifig edition parts here, but all of them are really great figures, and they are really cool to have all together so that you can see the lineup. I love the unique head molds here. That's one thing about The Simpsons, right, is every single character needs a unique head mold, which is pretty wild and really, really cool to look back on almost a decade later. Okay, up next, we've got Itchy and Scratchy, two legends of the Simpsons television universe. The TV show within the TV show. Of course, once again, getting unique molded heads for both here. I love that the ears are rubbery here on both, so that's really cool. The gray tail was a really nice addition piece here, and in particular, the dual molded arms here with orange on top, blue on bottom. Where else would you ever see that? So really, really love that. Not a ton of printing beyond that, but two essential figures and really, really awesome ones that LEGO gave us. Here we have Professor Frink and Moleman. Really cool minifigs, but minimal detailing as far as the backs of the torsos go. But what's really great here on Professor Frink, of course, is that awesome torso, but those pink legs with the lab coat, perfect for making the lizard from Lego Marvel. And the torso from Moleman has come in handy many, many times over the years for custom figures. So really, really nice additions here, and awesome to have them both. Up next is Springfield's most dastardly duo, Mr. Burns and Waylon Smithers. I do think that Waylon's hair looks really funny from the top. It almost looks like a piece of candy. But both figures are really awesome. And speaking of customs, of course, Mr. Burns' torso is perfect. And I mean perfect for Professor X from X-Men. So you'll love that in two great figures from the CMF Series 1 and Series 2. Here we have Grandpa Simpson and Ned Flanders, two essential characters and really, really awesome ones at that. So yeah, awesome. I love Ned's hair. Really, really funny the way that it's printed. And it is kind of interesting to see how these 2D characters were able to be translated into the 3D world for LEGO. Really, really great stuff, though. Pretty simplistic, right? No leg printing, pretty simple torso prints. So I do feel that these ones look pretty good side by side. Speaking of looking good side by side, we have Date Night Homer and Marge Simpson from the CMF Series 2. Of course, both of these are really nice, but Marge definitely takes the cake, having a textile skirt piece with printing on it, as well as dual-molded arms with those white gloves and orange on top. Super helpful for making customs over the years, and two great minifigs that look awesome side by side. Worst minifigs ever. Not really, but we have the comic book guy and Dr. Hibbert side by side here, both from the Simpsons CMF series. Of course, more dual molded arms, always welcome, and the printed legs are really nice as well. Not dual molded, but both figures do have printed legs, which are super, super awesome. In fact, in the entire Simpsons lineup of sets, the only figures to have dual molded legs are the kids, and those are short dual molded legs, which is interesting enough. But enough about that. These two figures look absolutely great. Love their accessories, and I'm so glad that we got both. Honestly, I feel like the comic book shop would be a really good next Simpsons set if LEGO were to do more. So let me know what you think about that, or what sets they should do next if they continue the series. Here we have Bartman and Fallout Boy Milhouse, which are definitely cool additions here. And I really dig both of these because LEGO had the molds, of course, for Milhouse and for Bart. So to just kind of recolor them in their superhero form here definitely makes a lot of sense. But both get new torsos, I guess. I mean, Bart's is just an orange torso, but the dual molded arms definitely make it nice. I do think that they might be the same shade as Martin here. I think they're the same shade, but it is a little tough to tell. So you guys let me know in the comments. But both have the same legs here. The arms on Milhouse are definitely really cool. Different shade from his first appearance there. They might be the same arms as the comic book guy. Seeing them side by side, I think that they are. So I guess at this point of the video, it is pretty neat to point out that the Simpsons figures back in the day really did a good job of reusing parts across figures without it seeming too obvious. But yeah, I dig these two a lot. Two very simple variants that add a lot of coolness into your Simpsons minifig collection, so I dig them both a lot. Here we have Selma and Patty, both really cool minifigs. I really, really love the printing on the purse here with the zipper and just printing on the side. Not really something we see very often, and oh my gosh, these giant hair pieces on both are amazing. They both have skirt pieces that are really nice too to add just a little bit of extra, detail to the figures, and overall, they're both really nice. Not my favorites in the series, but again, great to fill out your Springfield collection, and if you have one, you gotta get them both. Chief Wiggum to the furthest left is actually the one from the Simpsons collectible minifigure series. Then the one in the center is the one that comes in the Kwik-e-Mart. And then, of course, we have Lou, who comes in the Krusty Burger. So, yeah, this didn't come in the house, but it is cool to compare them all side by side. Both Chief Wiggums have the exact same arm printing and leg printing, which is pretty unique. But, of course, the one from the Kwik-e-Mart has some donut stains printed on the torso, as well as a little donut stain on his mouth. But beyond that, both figures look exactly the same as far as like the head mold and everything there. Then moving over to Lou, this is our first time ever getting him as a Simpsons Lego minifigure. It's also the first time we've ever seen this color combo for the sleeves, which is nice. And he gets a brand new torso and, of course, a brand new head sculpt, which adds a lot to the Simpsons universe and makes it very cool. Look at the CMF Apoo next to the version from the Kwik-e-Mart. Both use the exact same head, which, not really anything to change there. It works out well. But, of course, he's wearing two completely different outfits. The CMF version being a little bit more of what people would consider his classic look. And then, of course, we have the employee version that comes in the Kwik-e-Mart. And the other thing to consider is Apoo has not been in any Simpsons episodes since around 2020 or so. There was some controversy with the character and, him being used as a stereotype. So the Simpsons have basically quietly retired him, which means I really doubt that he'll ever be made in products going forward. Not just considering, Lego alone, but just in general. So these are probably the only two Apoo minifigs that will ever exist. And then, of course, we'll bend the rules one last time and take a look at the original version of Crusty, which is from Lego Dimensions and the CMF series, and, of course, the new Mother Nature Burger version of Crusty from the 2025 set. Now, this, of course, is from the gag where they've got the all-healthy version of the burger, and Krusty's in the commercial, whereas the original one is the more iconic version of the character. Both have uniquely molded heads, which I think works really well, although I do really like the way that the hair reaches out on the original compared to how it's a little bit more contained under the hat of the new one. These arms are not new, we have seen them in that color before elsewhere, but the new farmer torso is pretty sweet. And the original Krusty had those arms that were exclusive with the pink on top and yellow on bottom. Overall, both figures are nice, and I do like that in 2025, LEGO did give us a very obscure version of Crusty, although I think a lot of people are going to want to go back and get the original now because it does fit with the burger restaurant much, much better, in my opinion. And finally, we have Groundskeeper Willie and Edna. Both really nice minifigs again. Groundskeeper Willie is awesome, having dual-molded arms with the hair on his arms being printed. That's really cool. And, of course, Edna has a skirt piece as well. And both have really fitting accessories, which are great, too. But with that being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. So let's zoom out and wrap it up. Alright guys, let me know how many of these figures you have, and most importantly, who is your favorite Lego Simpsons minifig ever? For me, after having looked at all of them, I gotta say, I think Sideshow Bob is my favorite. I just can't believe Lego made him, and it is so, so cool to have him as a minifig. But let me know who your personal favorite is, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.